Imagine you were born in a rural community on the vast grasslands. In an age when everyone dreams of leaving for the city in search of a better life, what would you choose? A stable job, the convenience of an urban life, or a return to the grasslands? In Sanjiangyuan, the source region of Chinese three great rivers, I met a young man named Cai Rang. 你们就是现在有什么解决的应对的方法吗？
他们非常有经验，所以就我们提前时候去跟他们访谈之后，我现在是想，这是不是草原退化了，但是人心变了。
He is a university graduate who could have stayed in the city, yet he made a decision that surprised me. He went back to the grasslands to become a herder once again, and I found myself wondering why. In the age of modernization, why would anyone return to the oldest way of life? To understand Cai Rang's choice, we must first understand the significance of the land itself. Sanjiangyuan, the headwaters of the Yangtze, Yellow, and Mekong rivers, is known as the third pole of the earth. It glaciers, permafrosts, wetland, and meadows from a unique height, altitude ecosystem. Scientists tell us that its carbon storage is equivalent to 16 Amazon rainforests. Its meltwater nourishes nearly 2 billion people in East and Southeast Asia. In other words, the stability of Sanjiangyuan is not China's concern. It is critical to the future of humanity. Yet climate change threatens everything here. Permafrost is thawing, wetlands are striking, and grasslands are degrading. Environmental science, with its satellites, data, and climate models, tells us this is one of the most urgent ecological crises of our time. But beyond the data lies another truth: the people who live here. For centuries, Tibetan herders have sustained a delicate balance with nature. Nomadism is not random wandering. It is a conservation with the land. By moving with its seasons, by giving grasslands time to recover, by respecting sacred mountains and lakes, they weave environmental stewardship into daily life. Anthropologists call this a local knowledge system. What outsiders dismissed as tradition is in fact an ecological logic refined through generations of adaptation. For example, herders avoid grazing near sacred lakes. From a scientific perspective, this protects fragile water sources. They rotate pasture to let vegetation regenerate, what scientists today call carrying capacity management. Their beliefs, taboos, and rituals are not superstition, but the oldest form of environmental protection embedded in culture itself. Yet for today's younger generation, this balance is breaking down. First, there is the conflict of identity. Cai Rang is both a university graduate and a herder. He must navigate between being a modern intellectual and a guardian of tradition. Second, the conflict of economy. In the city, income is stable. On the grassland, herding is limited by climate and by policy. Overgrazing risks ecological collapse. Undergrazing risks poverty. Third, the conflict of emotion. To stay means hardship, but also continuity. To live means opportunity, but also disconnection from home. Science sharpens these conflicts. Data shows that Tibetan plateau is warming twice as fast as the global average. Melting permafrost releases greenhouse gases and accelerates grassland degradation. In other words, what Cai Rang faces is not only personal, it is the global climate crisis, lived locally. But Cai Rang did not give up. He chose to bring two worlds together. He learned from elders how to read the land, how to tell when grasslands are tired, how to rotate pasture so that livestock and meadows coexist. He also applied what he learned at university, conducting ecological monitoring, collecting data on grassland degradation, and working with NGOs on community-based conservation. He even helped build an eco-education camp, where children from cities come to experience the grasslands and learn how nomadic tradition embody ecological wisdom. Once, he told me, "Science tells me what may happen in the future. Tradition tells me how to live today." That sentence has stayed with me ever since. We are often told that science is rational and modern, while tradition is backward and obsolete. But what I saw on the grassland told a different story. Anthropology helps us ask, Why do people live this way? It reveals that culture is not a barrier, but a resource for survival. Environmental science asks, how will the environment respond? It offers data, predictions, and urgency. Today, they do not contradict each other, they complete each other. The elders' practice and the scientists' model both point to the same truths. Protect the grasslands, protect the rivers, protect the future. When I first came to Sanjiangyuan, I carried a researcher's mindset. I wanted data, interviews, statistics. I thought environmental protection was about reducing carbon emissions, planting trees, banning plastic bags. But the field changed me. One night, Cairang took me out under the stars. The sky was vast, the air thin. He whispered, "Look at the stars. They are like our livestock. They need to graze in different places. Even the heavens must rest." In that moment, I realized that environmental protection is not only about models and numbers. It is about relationships, emotions, and the way humans choose to live with the nature world. Cairang's story raises a larger question. How will our generation live with nature? This is not only the choice of Tibetan herders, it is the choice of humanity. Will we continue to treat nature as something to conquer, or will we begin to see it as a partner? So, I want to leave you with one question. In your own life, what small change could bring you closer to nature? Perhaps reducing waste, perhaps listening to local wisdom, perhaps simply seeing nature not as a resource, but as a relationship. Because protecting the grasslands is not only the responsibility of herders, it is the responsibility of us all. From the herder to the scientist, from the Tibetan plateau to every city, we are all answering the same question: how can we live in harmony with nature?